Mom texted, "Don't call or come over, we're done." I replied, "Got it." And by midnight, she was begging me to answer her calls. My name is Susan, and the moment I saw those words on my phone screen, sitting in my cramped studio apartment with day-old coffee going cold beside me, I felt something inside me break and then immediately harden into something else entirely. My mother, the woman who was supposed to love me unconditionally, had just disowned me via text message, not a phone call, not even the decency of doing it to my face. A text, 3 sentences that erased 32 years of being her daughter. And you know what? I replied with 2 words. Got it? Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let people think they've won. Have you ever been cut so deeply by someone you loved that you actually felt relief when the knife finally pulled out? Let me back up, because this story doesn't start with that text message. It starts 6 months earlier, at my brother Derek's wedding, where I stood in an emerald green bridesmaid dress that cost me 3 paychecks, smiling for photos while my family treated me like hired help. I was the middle child, the forgettable one, the one who chose teaching over law school, the one who married for love instead of money, the one whose divorce made me a failure in my mother's eyes. Derek was the golden boy, the corporate attorney with the 6-figure salary, and the picture-perfect fiancée, Melissa, whose father owned half the commercial real estate in our city. My younger sister, Amanda, was the baby, the beautiful one, the one who could do no wrong, even though she dropped out of 3 colleges and was currently finding herself on my parents' dime somewhere in Bali. And then there was me, Susan, the teacher who made $42,000 a year, the divorcee who moved into a studio apartment after her ex-husband cleaned out their joint account and disappeared with his 23-year-old dental hygienist, the daughter who was expected to show up, shut up, and be grateful for whatever scraps of attention came her way. At the wedding, my mother introduced me to her friends as our daughter who teaches, with that particular emphasis that made it sound like a disease. My father barely looked at me all night. Derek thanked everyone in his speech except me, even though I'd spent 2 weeks helping Melissa's family with seating arrangements and vendor coordination because her wedding planner quit. When I caught the bouquet, completely by accident, it literally hit me in the face. My mother's expression looked like she'd bitten into a lemon. Amanda whispered loud enough for the whole table to hear, "Well, that's a waste. It's not like Susan's ever getting married again." The room laughed. My mother didn't defend me. She laughed too. But I smiled and set the bouquet down on the gift table and went to the bathroom and cried for exactly 5 minutes. Then I washed my face, fixed my makeup, and went back out there. Because that's what I did. I endured. I survived. I convinced myself that family was family, and you don't give up on family, no matter how much they hurt you. 3 months after the wedding, my father had a stroke, a bad one. He survived, but he needed round-the-clock care, physical therapy, speech therapy, someone to manage his medications and his diet and his entire life. My mother called me at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, hysterical, unable to form complete sentences. I drove straight to the hospital still in my pajamas. I stayed there for 6 days straight, sleeping in a chair beside his bed, coordinating with doctors, making decisions, holding my mother while she fell apart. Derek showed up once, stayed for 20 minutes, and left because he had an important meeting. Amanda didn't come at all. She was still in Bali, and flights were so expensive right now. When my father was discharged, my mother looked at me with desperate eyes and asked if I could take some time off work to help, just until they got things figured out, just until they found a good home health aide. I took a leave of absence. Unpaid, of course, because I'd already used all my sick days and personal days during my divorce. I moved into my parents' house, into my childhood bedroom, with the same faded wallpaper and the twin bed I'd slept in as a teenager. I woke up at 5:30 every morning to help my father with his exercises. I learned how to lift him, how to help him dress, how to interpret his frustrated attempts at speech. I cooked meals that fit his new dietary restrictions. I cleaned the house. I managed the pharmacy runs and the doctor appointments and the insurance paperwork that seemed specifically designed to break your spirit. My mother didn't help much. She was too emotionally fragile, she said. The stress was killing her. So I carried it all the way I always had, the way I'd been trained to do since childhood. Be useful, be invisible. Don't ask for anything in return. 6 weeks in, Derek came to dinner. He brought Melissa and her parents, some kind of business thing they were working on together. My mother had asked me to make her special roast, the one that took all day to prepare. I'd been up since dawn, cooking and cleaning, making sure everything was perfect. During dinner, Derek's father-in-law mentioned that he was looking for a smart, capable person to manage one of his properties, a small office building downtown. Good salary, health insurance, normal 9 to 5 hours. I'd opened my mouth to say I might be interested, that I actually had a business degree in addition to my teaching certification, when my mother cut me off. Oh, Susan couldn't handle that. She's not really business-minded. She's more of a helper type. The table went silent for a moment. Then Derek laughed and changed the subject. Melissa's father looked embarrassed and didn't bring it up again. I excused myself, went to the kitchen, and gripped the edge of the sink so hard my knuckles turned white. I stared at my reflection in the window, a tired woman with dark circles under her eyes, wearing the same 3 pairs of yoga pants on rotation, because I hadn't had time to do laundry, hadn't had time to do anything except take care of everyone else. That night, after everyone left, I asked my mother why she'd done that, why she dismissed me like I was stupid or incapable. She looked genuinely confused. I didn't dismiss you, Susan. I just told the truth. You're not cut out for that kind of work. You're a teacher. This is what you're good at, taking care of people. You should be grateful you have a purpose. Grateful? I should be grateful. I went back to my childhood bedroom and lay in the dark and realized something I'd known for years, but had never let myself fully acknowledge. My mother didn't see me as a person. She saw me as a resource. Something to be used when convenient and ignored when not. But I stayed, because my father needed help, and despite everything, I loved him. And because some part of me still hoped that if I just tried hard enough, sacrificed enough, gave enough, my family would finally see my worth. 10 weeks in, I'd lost 12 pounds I couldn't afford to lose. My school had told me they couldn't hold my position any longer. Budget cuts? They needed to hire someone permanent. I was exhausted in a way that sleep couldn't fix. The kind of exhaustion that settles into your bones and your soul. My father was improving, slowly but steadily. He could walk with a walker now. His speech was coming back. We'd hired a part-time aide who came 3 days a week. That's when Amanda came home from Bali, glowing and refreshed and full of stories about spiritual awakening and finding her true self. My mother threw her a welcome home party. Not a small thing, a real party, catered with 40 people. I helped set up, of course. I arranged flowers and hung decorations and made sure the caterers had everything they needed. During the party, I overheard Amanda talking to one of my mother's friends. I just feel so blessed, you know? I spent 3 months really connecting with myself, figuring out what I want from life. And my parents were so supportive, financially and emotionally. I don't know what I'd do without them. My mother, standing right there, beamed with pride. We'd do anything for our Amanda. She's such a special soul. I was standing 6 feet away, wearing the same jeans I'd worn for 3 days straight because I'd been too busy taking care of their house and their lives to deal with my own laundry. Nobody noticed me. I was furniture. That night, Amanda knocked on my bedroom door. She wanted to talk. She'd been thinking, she said, and she wanted to be more involved in Dad's care. She felt bad that I'd been doing everything alone. She wanted to help. I felt something in my chest crack open. Finally someone in this family was acknowledging what I'd sacrificed. That would be amazing, I said. I really need a break. She smiled, that beautiful smile that had been getting her out of trouble since she was 5. Great. So I was thinking, maybe you could write out all the instructions, like a schedule and all the medications and the exercises and stuff. And then I could, take over on weekends. That way you still do the hard stuff during the week, but I can give you weekends off. Does that work? I stared at her. Amanda, I've been here for 10 weeks straight. I lost my job. I'm broke. I can't do this anymore. I need actual help, not a few hours on weekends. Her face fell. Oh, I can't do full time. I have stuff going on. I'm trying to launch my wellness brand. But I thought weekends would help. Your wellness brand. Yeah, it's like a lifestyle thing, meditation and sustainable fashion. And look, I'm sorry I can't do more, but I have my own life, Susan. You chose to stay. Nobody forced you. She left, just like that. And I sat on my twin bed in my childhood room and realized that nothing I did would ever be enough. I could give everything, bleed myself dry, sacrifice every piece of my own life, and it would never matter. Because to them, I wasn't a person with needs and dreams and limits. I was a tool, and when a tool breaks, you don't fix it or thank it. You just get annoyed that it stopped working. The next morning, I told my mother I was leaving. The aid could cover more days, and they could figure out the rest. I needed to go back to my apartment and rebuild my life. I'd helped as much as I could, but I had to take care of myself now. My mother looked at me like I'd slapped her. You're abandoning us? Your father is still recovering. How can you be so selfish? Mom, I've been here for almost 3 months. I lost my job. I have nothing left to give. You lost your job because you're not committed to anything. You never have been. You quit on your marriage, you quit on your career, and now you're quitting on your family. This is who you are, Susan. A quitter. The words hit like physical blows. I tried to explain, tried to make her understand, but she talked over me. Derek would be so disappointed. Amanda had finally wanted to help, and now I was leaving anyway. What would people think? How could I do this to them? I left that night anyway, packed my car with the few things I'd brought, and drove back to my studio apartment that smelled like mildew and old carpet. I sat on my secondhand couch and felt absolutely nothing. Numbness. Complete and total emptiness. For 2 weeks, my mother called me every day. Not to ask how I was doing, to tell me what I needed to do for them. The aide had called in sick. Amanda was too stressed to help. Could I come over just for the day, just to help with this one thing? I said no. Over and over, I said no. And every time I did, the calls got shorter. The tone got colder. Then came the text. The one that started this whole thing. Don't call or come over, we're done. You've shown your true colors and we want nothing to do with you. Derek and Amanda agree. You're no longer part of this family. I stared at those words for a long time. Part of me wanted to call her, to beg, to apologize for the crime of having needs. But a different part of me, a part that had been growing stronger over the past few months, said something else. Let them go. So I typed back, got it. And then I did something I should have done years ago. I started living for myself. I got a job at a private tutoring company, better pay than teaching, flexible hours. I started therapy, finally dealing with a lifetime of being told I wasn't good enough. I reconnected with old friends I'd neglected while trying to earn my family's approval. I started running every morning, not to lose weight or punish myself, but because it felt good to do something just for me. I read books. I took a pottery class. I went on dates that went nowhere and didn't beat myself up about it. I learned how to be alone without being lonely. For 6 weeks, I didn't hear from my family. It hurt, but it also felt like taking off shoes that had been too tight for years. I could breathe. Then, on a random Thursday evening, my phone rang. Derek. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Susan. His voice was tight. We need to talk. About what? About the fact that you apparently told everyone in Mom's social circle that we abandoned Dad and forced you to be his sole caretaker. People are asking questions. Mom is humiliated. You need to fix this. I sat up straighter. Derek, I haven't talked to anyone from Mom's social circle. I haven't talked to anyone about any of this. Bullshit. Janet Morrison called Mom yesterday and said someone told her that we treated you like a servant while you sacrificed everything. Where else would that come from? I don't know, but it wasn't me. Maybe someone noticed that I was there every single day for 3 months while you showed up once, and Amanda didn't come home at all? Maybe people have eyes. He sputtered. This is exactly the kind of manipulative. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt oddly calm. Whatever was happening, I hadn't started it, and I wasn't going to apologize for the truth. 2 hours later, Amanda called. Susan, what the hell? Mom is freaking out. Why are you spreading lies about us? I'm not spreading anything. I haven't spoken to any of Mom's friends. Then why are people talking? Karen Chen came into Mom's book club and asked if Dad was okay and if Mom needed help because she'd heard the family was going through something. This is your fault. You're trying to ruin us. Amanda, listen to yourself. I've been completely silent about everything. Maybe people noticed. Maybe someone saw something. I don't know and I don't care. I'm not part of your family anymore, remember? Mom made that very clear. Oh, don't be dramatic. She didn't mean, don't call or come over. We're done. Those were her exact words. So I'm doing what she asked. Goodbye, Amanda. I hung up. And then I turned off my phone and went to bed. The next morning, I had 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. I scrolled through them with my coffee, my stomach tight with anxiety, trying to understand what had happened. Apparently, several of my mother's closest friends had started asking questions. Not because I'd said anything, but because the truth had a way of getting out. Mrs. Morrison had driven past my parents' house one day during my 3-month stint and seen me loading my father into the car for a doctor's appointment, exhausted and struggling. She'd offered to help and I'd gratefully accepted. She'd started stopping by occasionally after that, bringing food, staying to chat. I'd never told her anything directly, but she had eyes. She saw me there every day. She saw that no one else was helping. Mrs. Chen had run into me at the grocery store during week 8, looking like I'd lost a fight with a laundry basket. She'd asked if I was okay, and I'd said something vague about helping my parents. And she'd read between the lines. These women weren't stupid. They'd known my mother for 30 years. They knew about Derek the golden child, and Amanda the princess, and Susan the forgotten middle daughter. They'd watched my mother dismiss me at social events for years. And apparently, they'd started talking among themselves, putting pieces together, asking pointed questions. One of the messages was from my mother. Call me now. You've embarrassed this family enough. We need to discuss this like adults. I didn't call. Instead, I got dressed, went for my morning run, and then I did something I'd been thinking about for a while. I opened my laptop and started writing. Not about revenge or anger, but about healing. About what it means to be the forgotten child in a family that runs on hierarchy and favoritism. About learning to set boundaries. About the guilt that comes with choosing yourself. I posted it on a blog I'd started years ago and forgotten about. Nothing identifying, no names, just my story in raw, honest terms. I didn't expect anyone to read it. By that evening, it had been shared 200 times. People were commenting with their own stories, thanking me for putting words to their experiences. Someone had shared it in a support group for adult children of narcissistic parents. It was spreading. My phone rang, my mother. This time I answered. Susan. Her voice was ice. Take down that blog post immediately. Which blog post? Don't play stupid. The one about being the forgotten child. Everyone knows it's about us. You're humiliating your family for attention. Take it down now. Mom, there are no names in that post. If people think it's about you, maybe that says more about your reputation than my writing. This is defamation. Derek says we could sue you. Something in me snapped. Then sue me. I'm sure that will really help your image. Suing your daughter for writing about her feelings. That won't make people ask questions at all. The silence on the other end was deadly. You've changed, she finally said. You're cruel now. No, Mom, I just stopped letting you be cruel to me. There's a difference. I hung up. And this time my hands weren't shaking. This time I felt strong. The next week was chaos. My blog post went viral. Not hugely, but enough. Thousands of shares, news outlets picking it up, parenting forums dissecting it. I started getting interview requests from podcasts about family dynamics and boundary setting. My mother's friends were definitely talking now, and not in the hushed, polite way they usually gossiped. They were asking direct questions. Why had Susan been the only one caring for her father? Where was Derek? Where was Amanda? My mother left me increasingly unhinged voicemails. I was destroying the family reputation. I was selfish and vindictive. I was making up lies for sympathy. Derek sent me a legal cease and desist letter that was so poorly written, I knew he'd done it himself to scare me. I showed it to a lawyer friend who laughed and said it had no legal standing whatsoever. Amanda tried a different approach. She texted, I know you're hurt, but this isn't the way. Can we please talk? I miss my sister. I didn't respond because she didn't miss her sister. She missed the version of me that absorbed their abuse silently. Then my father called. His speech was much better now, though still slow and careful. Susan, I'm sorry. I sat down. Dad, I didn't realize how hard it was, what you did, your mother. She tells me things differently, but I remember. You were there every day, just you. I felt tears burning. Dad, you don't have to. Yes, I do. You gave up everything. And we didn't appreciate it. I didn't appreciate it. I'm sorry. Thank you, I whispered. That means everything. Your mother is upset, but she's also scared. People are judging her. She's not handling it well. I know, but that's not my problem to fix anymore. He was quiet for a long moment. No, it's not. You take care of yourself now, okay? Okay. After we hung up, I cried. Real, messy, healing tears. Because that apology, that acknowledgement was something I'd needed for so long. But I wasn't done. Because my mother had taught me one valuable lesson in all of this. Silence is powerful, but the truth is more powerful. I accepted a podcast interview with a popular show about family dysfunction. I didn't name names. I didn't have to. I told my story honestly. The golden child, the baby, the forgotten middle daughter, the 3 months of caregiving while everyone else lived their lives, the text message cutting me off, the healing that came from walking away. It aired on a Friday morning. By Friday evening, my mother's phone was ringing off the hook. People she'd judged, people she'd gossiped about, people she'd looked down on for years. They were all calling to say they'd heard the podcast and they understood now. They were on my side. Saturday afternoon, my mother called me. I let it go to voicemail. Susan, please, this has gone too far. They're saying terrible things. They think I'm a bad mother. Derek and Amanda are getting questions. This needs to stop. Please call me back. We can work this out. We're family. I deleted it. Sunday evening, another voicemail. This time she was crying. I don't understand why you're doing this to me. I gave you everything. I raised you. And this is how you repay me? By humiliating me? By turning everyone against me? Please, Susan, please stop. I listened to it twice, and I felt nothing. No guilt, no urge to fix things. Just a quiet, settled peace. Monday morning, Derek sent me a text. You win, okay? You've destroyed Mom's reputation. She's devastated. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? I wrote back, I didn't want any of this. I just wanted to be treated like a person, like I mattered. That's all I ever wanted. He didn't respond. Tuesday evening, my mother showed up at my apartment. I saw her through the peephole. Smaller somehow, older. her perfect hair slightly messy. She knocked softly. "Susan, please, I know you're there. I just want to talk." I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "What do you want, Mom?" She looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. "I want my daughter back. I want to fix this. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to make this right." "Why now? Because people are judging you? Because your reputation is damaged? Or because you actually realize you hurt me?" I, she faltered. "Both, all of it. I didn't realize how much I'd relied on you, how much I took advantage. I thought you were okay with it. I thought you understood your role in the family." "My role?" I laughed hollow. "My role was to be useful and invisible, to give everything and ask for nothing. That was never okay, Mom. I was never okay with it. I just didn't know I was allowed to say no." "I'm sorry." The words came out broken. "I'm so sorry. I love you, Susan. I do. I didn't know how to show it. You were always so capable, so strong. You didn't seem to need anything from me. Everyone needs their mother, Mom. I needed you to see me, to value me, to defend me when Amanda made jokes about my divorce, or when Derek ignored me, or when your friends dismissed my career. I needed you to act like I mattered." She was crying now, really crying. I know I failed you. I'm asking for a chance to do better. Please." I looked at her, this woman who'd shaped so much of my pain and my strength, and I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the beginning of it, the possibility. "If you want a relationship with me, it has to be different. I'm not coming to every family dinner. I'm not dropping my life when you need something. I'm not going to be treated like less than Derek or Amanda. And you're going to have to actually apologize to Dad for making me carry everything alone. In front of the aide. In front of everyone." She nodded, desperate. "Yes, anything. And you're going to stop telling people I'm just a teacher, like it's something shameful. You're going to respect my choices and my life, even if it's not what you would have chosen." "I will, I promise." "I don't know if I believe you yet," I said quietly, "but I'm willing to see if you mean it. That's the best I can offer right now." She reached for my hand. I let her take it, but I didn't squeeze back. Not yet. "That's more than I deserve," she whispered. "Thank you." She left, and I closed the door and leaned against it, exhausted and strangely light. I didn't know if my mother would actually change. People rarely did, especially people her age, especially people who'd spent decades treating hierarchy as holy. But I'd learned something crucial. My worth wasn't determined by whether she could see it. I saw it. That was enough. Over the following weeks, things slowly, carefully shifted. My mother called and actually asked about my life. She invited me to coffee, just us, no Derek or Amanda, and listened when I talked about my new job and my therapy and my pottery class. She caught herself twice starting to say something dismissive and stopped, apologized, tried again. Derek sent a stiff email apologizing for any hurt feelings and suggesting we move forward. It wasn't great, but it was something. Amanda showed up at my door with expensive coffee and a real apology. "I was a terrible sister. I took you for granted because everyone else did, and I didn't stop to think about how that felt. I'm really sorry, Susan. I want to do better." I was cautious with all of them. I kept my boundaries firm. I said no when I needed to, and slowly, carefully, we built something new. Not the toxic family dynamic of before, but something more honest, more equal. It was fragile and imperfect, but it was real. The viral blog post eventually faded from the internet's attention span as viral things do. But the impact on me remained. I'd found my voice. I'd learned to value myself. I discovered that walking away from people who hurt you isn't cruelty. It's self-preservation. And sometimes, that's the most powerful form of love you can show yourself. 6 months after that text message, I sat in my therapist's office and realized I hadn't cried about my family in weeks. I was happy, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a quiet, steady way that felt like coming home to myself. You did something remarkable, my therapist said. You set boundaries with people who had no practice respecting them. That takes incredible strength. I didn't feel strong. I felt terrified most of the time. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. You chose yourself, Susan. That's the bravest thing anyone can do. I left that session and went to my pottery class and made a bowl that was lopsided and imperfect and absolutely beautiful because I'd made it with my own hands. I went home and cooked dinner just for myself and ate it slowly, savoring every bite. I called a friend and made plans for the weekend. I lived, and that night, when my mother called to ask if I'd like to come to Sunday dinner, a real question, not a demand, I said, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." Because I had a life now, plans, a self, and that self was worth protecting. She said, "Of course, no pressure, let me know." And that, more than any apology, told me that maybe, just maybe, things really had changed. Or maybe they hadn't, and they never would completely. Maybe my family would always be complicated, always be imperfect, always carry the scars of years of dysfunction. But I had changed. I had learned to protect my peace, to value my worth, to walk away from tables where I was being served disrespect. And that made all the difference. My name is Susan. I'm a tutor, a daughter, a sister, a survivor, and someone who finally learned that the only person's approval I truly needed was my own. The text message that ended my family relationship was the same text message that began my real life. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find out what actually matters. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's healing, it's thriving. It's building a life so full and rich and peaceful that the people who hurt you become irrelevant to your happiness. It's waking up one morning and realizing you don't think about them anymore. You don't check your phone hoping they'll call. You don't measure your worth by their standards. You just live fully, completely, unapologetically. That's the revenge. That's the victory. And it's sweeter than anything I could have planned. Because at the end of the day, the people who love you will show you through their actions, not their words. And the people who don't? Well, they'll teach you the most valuable lesson of all, that you are enough all by yourself without needing anyone's permission to take up space in this world. My mother texted me, "Don't call or come over, we're done." I replied, "Got it." And by midnight that day, I'd taken the first step toward the life I'd always deserved, one where I was seen, valued, and most importantly, where I saw and valued myself. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply let go and walk away. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, the people who hurt you will realize what they lost and do the work to earn you back. But even if they don't, you'll be okay. Because you'll have found something more valuable than their approval. You'll have found yourself. That's not just revenge, that's resurrection.